All right, Stochastic, here we go. It's your old pal EMac coming to you on the first Sunday night live before lock NBA. That means NFL's almost over. We do have the Super Bowl coming up next Sunday, and a couple, I think usually they run about 3 games Sunday morning for basketball, but this is it. You're going to be getting us throughout the rest of the winter and into the spring here on Sunday Night Live before lock. So, Mr. Lindquist, it's been a hot minute since we've done a show together. I've got to see you and a variety of hosts comboing up there on the weekdays. It's always funny. I do a lot of shows with Greg now. I have to keep remembering I'm on the show and not just listening to you guys. So I look forward to saying, gosh, I wonder what Eric's going to say next.
Yeah, I think was it Nolan?
Because I'm not asking the questions. So.
Yeah, somebody, I think it was Nolan that tweeted at us about the 2 Muppets, like the old guys up on the balcony.
Statler and Waldorf.
100% Greg and I. Like, I can't imagine a better representation of our relationship than that. That's for sure. But luckily, we have like a mediator on all of these shows now. We got our guy Lee alongside us here today. We have Rich from time to time. I will say that's been good marriage counseling for Greg and I for sure.
That's good. Yeah, you guys need a little separation on that. But we have a wild one tonight. The sites actually reached forward and grabbed these 6 o'clock games. So we have a 7-game slate. There are, I believe, 3 games going off here at 6. I've got the Wizards box score up here, looking at Bradley Beal with the "Remember Me" performance right now. Which it was a toss up. Was it going to be Kevin Durant back in his hometown or a Bradley Beal "Remember Me"? So we've got that one. But we've got the 3 6 o'clock games. Memphis sitting, resting, injured. They don't have too many players left. Boston's going to be missing a couple people. We got LA and Miami, Indy and Charlotte. That's the exciting game there, plus the Memphis value. Then at 7 o'clock, we have 2 games. We got Houston at Minnesota, Toronto at OKC, and then an 8 o'clock game and an 8:30 game. So a nice set of action here going off over 2.5 hours. Those are the latest games. There were no late night hammers on yesterday or today, but that's okay. It gives us a nice compressed schedule, makes things a lot of fun here. We're going to kind of go by position, but we'll hit on some of the key injuries as well. And then I'm sure we will get news popping up at the most inopportune moments. I see that news is already coming out for tomorrow's games. Thank you.
Never fun.
Never fun. So annoying. In any event, just a quick rundown. Jaylen Brown is out. Jaren Jackson Jr. is out. Those are key players. That's going to be important to note. Cody Martin has been ruled out. Frankie Ntilikina is out. Jalen Williams, the good fantasy producer, he is out for OKC, as is Isaiah Joe. Tari Eason's still dealing with that sore leg, so he is out. The questionables of note: Gobert is important. We have Damian Lillard. We already know Brook Lopez is out. We know Chris Middleton is out, but Lillard is honestly questionable at this point. Trey Mann could be making a return. He's not really one to worry about. RJ Barrett has been out for a week or 10 days now. He could return tonight. That could help Toronto keep a little closer against OKC. And then Indiana wildcards. Tyrese Halliburton is questionable. I'm assuming he seems pretty hell-bent on playing those 65 games this season, Eric. I think we could see him in that 22 to 26-minute range for another couple weeks. Those are just my guesses on that. And then Memphis is the biggie. Xavier Tillman, doubtful. That's a big one. Santi Aldama is dinged up. John Conchar dinged up. Vince Williams also banged up. We could get Derrick Rose if his 100-year-old knees and ankles and other soft tissue can play tonight. Well, this is just a wild one. What is your initial impression here? Is Memphis going to be the key to everything?
Yeah, probably to some extent, just because it's extremely cheap. There's nobody on that entire basketball team, despite being nearly 20-point dogs, that is expensive, that is cost prohibitive. We'll see what happens with Williams, Aldama. If they end up sitting, everybody's $5,500 or cheaper. If they end up playing, I will say that it probably makes our lives a little bit easier as well. John Conchar as well. But yeah, that's going to be kind of what we're waiting around for the next 55 minutes. Who is active, like the healthy, active bodies there from that situation. You also have kind of Milwaukee coming up a little bit later. So we do have 8 p.m., 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, respectively. Milwaukee, Utah in Utah, Portland, Denver in Denver. I think the Milwaukee side could be really, really nice here as well. And I don't know what that starting lineup looks like. It was obviously goofy yesterday. You got the Robin Williams spot start, which was truly the most spotty of all starts that could possibly be 4 minutes. Thanks for coming. Have a nice day. Jay Crowder ends up getting the start there in the second half. I would assume at 3,800, he'd be a guy we can get to. We have lots of value scattered out throughout the board. We're just going to kind of be reacting in the moment to a lot of this news. We already got Ish Smith, who's going to be starting. He is in this first wave of games, though, and we'll see what happens with Memphis. We kind of know what we're getting into with Ish Smith. He hasn't been the fantasy performer of years past, but lots of goodness that could potentially be there from Memphis, and then obviously some news that can break a little bit later. We already know Middleton's out. We already know Brook Lopez is out. We could be getting Dame sitting as well, so a lot that can still fall.
Robin Williams. You meant
Robin Williams. Is that what I said?
That's what you said. It was good.
Oh, Robin Lopez.
Hey, he's the good luck charm. Did you know that the Bucks are undefeated in his 3 starts? And did you further know last night's, whatever it was, 4 minutes and 18 seconds is not the shortest start he's ever had for the Bucks. Last year he had one that was, I think, 3:48. There are people that run a mile in 3:48. That was his playing time in the start. So that's a little bit dangerous tonight. We'll have some more about that. And we, as Eric mentioned, we do have Lee. You guys know him as B Calicore out there in the DFS streets. He will be popping in as we get some news here and to talk about the different ways we are going to be updating things. But Eric, let's kind of go over will be popping in as we can. Let's look at the your favorite guards. Point guard, shooting guard tonight. What is standing out for you with the news as it currently stands?
Yeah, I mean, I ran stuff in the Sims and before the show. I think the one guy that's not going to change for me is SGA. Sitting on the high end, going up against Toronto, he's 10-3. You just look at the spend ups on this slate. We're going to get value. We already have Ish Smith to some extent too, at that same point guard position. But Jokic, Giannis, SGA, Tatum. Those are 4 guys that you really want to be getting to. Damian Lillard, if he plays 9,200 against Utah, obviously there could be something there. It's been like banging your head against a wall trying to figure Damian Lillard out from time to time this year. But with Tyrese Halliburton here on a minutes limit, that's basically the entire 9K range outside of Jason Tatum eradicated if you get Dame sitting as well. So those are 4 guys that we're going to be spending up on. And SGA, considering he's the only one that has the guard eligibility out of those 4, I think that's extremely valuable. That's why you're getting that 30% ownership going his direction. I think he's just unequivocally my favorite spend up right now. If we knew Dame was out, I'd make that Giannis pretty darn quickly. Jokic, obviously there's massive blowout potential and things of that nature. And then Jason Tatum, this is also a 20-point spread. So at the same time that he looks good, I think Giannis can end up being the guy that I end up jamming up here. He's already the highest raw projected guy that we have here in our projections, but because of the positionality and $1,000 less here, 1,100, I guess, on DK, SGA, definitely my favorite guy to get to at guard right now.
All right. You kind of mentioned on the low end there with Ish and likely what's going to be Gilliard. Do you have any hesitations on those guys? We know they should get minutes, which is the first hurdle. That is the Rashawn Holmes, Deontay Jordan rule of the game. You got to be on the court to play, right?
Well, yeah, and Derrick Rose is a big domino to fall there because I'm not going to play any Gilliard or Pippen 4,500, 4,700. I don't even think Pippen probably sees the floor if Derrick Rose plays, if Conchar plays, but we'll see what that starting lineup is. That's going to dictate what I think a lot of people do with their lineups, as it should. Just who they have active, period. So until we get that news, there's just so much stuff that can shift. I guess the one guy to talk about is now Derek White is at $6,400. He's been second in EPM here amongst this team. Just a ridiculous run here of form from Derek White this season, but the tag has started to come down to more palatable places. It was 7,700 back at the beginning of January, and now at 6,400, 35 minutes of him probably ends up out there in a last rotation still up until about the 6-minute mark if they're up by 20-25. So Derek White's still somebody that, I don't know, feels a lot better without Jaylen Brown out there. That's for sure. A little bit more palatable there. Peyton Pritchard pulling a ton of ownership, but I get it right now. That probably turns into something else for me. And I'm more inclined to look at some of the later games, trying to get the guards from from Utah, Colin Sexton, obviously, Jordan Clarkson, somebody that has shown up. Keontae George, if you're looking for like a 3,900 guy to swap around with, depending on what happens with Milwaukee. Don't hate that idea, but Derek White, definitely going to be a quote unquote priority for me here in the early session, no matter what happens.
All right. We've got a super chat here, and Brad Kaufman is asking, how do you export lineups from the Sims to DK, and how do you mass enter the lineups without doing them one at a time? So quickly, here's what I do. I register on DraftKings like I normally would for any contest, put in a lineup. I usually pick players that are starting in the latest games, and then I enter whatever contest I want. From there, I download that CSV, my contest CSV, and then I run the Sims lineups, and then you can just copy the Sims lineups into that. If you're going to be doing the late swap, all you need to do is upload your CSV. You need to download the most current version, because then the CSV or the Sims will know which players are locked. And then when you export that out of the Sims, that file you can just straight upload in. You can only do that on the late swap file. That initial file you do have to populate yourself. So I was looking here. I know Josh Enkelman has done a video on the website for that. I will try to find it here where he breaks it down. Hopefully that makes sense to you, but it's just the standard way that you would do things. And I know sometimes it can be a little difficult on DraftKings, but I will even drop the link in, because I saved this link in my favorites, just so when DraftKings is busy, I can quickly get to it. But that is where you can download and upload your CSVs in and out of DraftKings once you've registered for contests. So hopefully that made sense. Let's see here. Oh, speaking of Sims, we've got a nice deal going on with those.
There we go. Conchar ruled out. Tillman ruled out. This is all coming in. Derrick Rose ruled out. Santi Aldama ruled out. Vince Williams. Oh, my dear sweet God.
All right. So Lee is going to spontaneously combust for a brief moment here. We're going to let him work through this, and then he will signal us when he's ready to talk. We'll be able to tell through the tears, I think. But back to the Sims, we do have the bundle where we've put everything together. That's got NBA, MMA, PGA, of course, MLB will be coming up one more week of the NFL with the Super Bowl here. But that is a good way to get everything. You can get them monthly discounted. We're giving you a $150 discount if you rep the stochastic avatar on your DFS sites of choice. Pretty good deal. We're cutting off $150, so that gets it down to $399.95 per month. Yep, a little bit expensive, but that's why we're trying to give you the price break there as well in exchange for using the stochastic logo. The other thing you can remember is you can always slide in on the lineup generator package. That is like Sims Lite, I believe is how Josh likes to describe that. Basically, it's using all the same tools and technology and modeling that the Sims are doing. It's just distilling it down to 500 lineups for you. If you get the max package, it'll build out 5,000 different lineups for you. It's very easy to sort through. You can save and then download 20 lineups at a time. Very slick, good to use, a lot of fun with that. But those are the two packages here. All right, any other news drop there? So we hit them all. Everybody's out for a minute.
Everybody.
Aldama,
Vince Williams,
Conchar,
Santi Aldama, Derrick Rose,
Tillman,
Conchar, Tillman. Yeah, everybody's gone. So right off the bat, the best play of the entire slate is everybody from Memphis. All of these guys. Luke Kennard carries risk only because he's 5,500. So he's not like a flat zero like some of these other guys. And Gilliard, he doesn't exactly get things done. You brought it up before the show. Does he do anything besides shoot threes? Yeah, he passes a lot. Like that's basically what he does. If he gets inside of the arc, he's not really a threat to do much else there, but he is 4,500 as well. These guys, though, at the flat and min, I mean, Lee, Tosin, come on. Gregory Jackson, 4,500, just jam season. David Roddy, Matt Hurt, 3,300.
Matt Hurt.
He's just
Matt Hurt, man. He's going to be. Yeah. I mean, it's going to be a jam session everywhere. We really have to know. Like, Scottie Pippen supposedly is in the G League, but I have a feeling they probably called him up and it's just bad
That's
reporting.
what I was saying.
At this point. But, man, it is ugly. Like, I'm almost more inclined to be scared of, like, David Roddy and Luke Kennard than I am to be of any of the G Leaguers, right? Because This is Boston. It's going to be about 125 to 70 or something like that as, like, the final score. So, yeah.
Well, also just thinking about, like, the guys that they don't give a shit about, like, for lack of a better way of putting it, they don't give a shit about Pippen Jr. or Gilliard or Jameson or Hurt or GG Jackson or Ev, the guy from Princeton that everybody let me know. I had no idea who he was. I mean, they don't care about these guys. So like they get unlimited run. Luke Kennard, you kind of care about if you're Memphis. Like this is a guy who was the best 3-point shooter in the league 2 years ago. You obviously made moves to just have him on the perimeter as somebody to knock down an open shot with John Morant out there. Well, there's a lot of guys that are missing there between Payne and so on and so forth. But like, my dear God, Kennard, it's just because he's 5,500, right, EMac? Like that's the main reason that we're actually worried about him. It's not that we don't think he's going to get every opportunity to score out there.
Yeah, it just comes down to he's going to have a baseline of 35 fantasy points to return any value whatsoever the way things are shaping up. So interesting there.
Fun slate.
This just in from News God El Negro Loco. Lee, you can come back in. He wants to know: is that a fuzzy couch in the background? I'm now intrigued as well here. It's like the fuzzy dice that people hang from their cars.
This is a fuzzy pillow. You know that tells me I'm domesticated. So
okay.
Sophisticated mama.
I like this. This is the kinder, gentler B. Calicore. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. True.
Wow, that is just a lot to unpack there. So we'll have to see what else is going to happen. I want to see, did we get Halliburton news search on that one? Because I thought I saw something pop up there. He is available. Okay, so Halliburton is available today.
Yeah. The guy we need to figure out, like I see chat, guys, it's not like I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just saying that there's a chance that they need Scottie Pippen there to like play basketball. Like they might need him there. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, no, they would need Pippen up there. Who am I missing?
So
no, you're not missing anybody.
Okay,
yeah,
Jameson,
Gilliard,
Ev,
Roddy, Jackson.
So Pippen needs to be there to have 8.
Yeah, so he'll definitely be here.
Okay.
So whatever happens, he'll be there. I'm gonna assume that he's in, barring anything else, and he's gonna get like 30 minutes. So.
I'm playing. Yeah. Let's double check that. Obviously, we'll be paying very, very close attention. Yeah. Roddy, Kennard, Scottie Pippen, GG, Jacob Gilliard, Hurt, Ev Bowman, and Jameson. Cool. Good talk. Glad we all had it. Can't wait for that starting lineup. It's going to look normal.
I think the GM's heading out to the YMCA there in Boston to see if he can get a couple guys on 10 days before.
Not a bad idea.
So if this was Memphis, it would be the lucky fan in section 123. Come on down. You'll be suiting up tonight. Just like in the movie Eddie. Have you ever seen that movie?
I have not.
All right, let's get back to today's fun here. Anything else you want to mention on the guards, or would you like to throw out some of the forwards that are popping up? As I'm sure the next news wave is about 12 minutes away with that.
Yeah, they're all Memphis guys now. You got everybody ruled out, and everybody at forward is David Roddy's 4,900 playing tons, Gregory Jackson 4,500 playing tons, and then Matt Hurt. Matt Hurt probably starts 3,300, and I'm probably going to have 100% of him, so that'll be an enjoyable experience. Tosan Bowman at 3,200. He's going to play 20-ish minutes as well. So, like, everybody from Memphis at forward. And, you know, you can talk about how bad they are. They could score 85 points, and you're still, at these tags, going to get enough meat on the bone where it's really, really, really hard to turn down anything from those spots. I guess the interesting thing is, like, do we want to craft out lineups? Because, like, Jay Crowder is not a good fantasy point per minute guy. Malik Beasley, not a good fantasy point per minute guy. It's like, even with Middleton and Lopez out and with the potential of Damian Lillard out, there's not a lot of value that I'm in love with outside of Cameron Payne at 3,600, who I think I want to pre-build some lineups in. Connaughton could get a start at 3,400. You have Marion Beauchamp that they've gone to. Andre Jackson, I think, was also dinged up here. He's questionable. So that's going to be one that'll matter. Did he end up playing yesterday or not? No, he didn't. So, yeah, there's going to be something that exists for Milwaukee, but like, what are we going to do to just sit on that news? Because if Lillard plays, then you're basically just giving up on not having somebody from Memphis that's looking fantastic at that same salary.
Just a little break check here is that last time Lillard was out, they played like 10 AJ Green, 15 Marjon Beauchamp, 10 Chris Livingston. Yep. So it's like you're like, like it's not really that great. They'll just be like, okay, I guess Giannis just score every shot. Bobby Portis score every shot, whatever.
Yeah.
It's tough for me to be like looking at value pieces on Milwaukee and be like, yeah, that's what I want when they have to play 240 minutes in Milwaukee or in Memphis somehow, you know?
Yep.
It's just
Fun slate, guys. Fun slate.
How crazy is it that Utah's favored by 4 now?
Utah has been playing some really good ball. I mean, obviously, playing DFS, one of the things that's funny, as I've gotten into betting over the last couple of years and like really, really not just enjoy it, but I've found like my own little segment, found ways to be profitable at it. Like, I will say one thing that I pay more attention to is like how certain teams are playing with certain rotations. Utah figures out, like they figured out how they want to utilize everybody. Like Chris Dunn's plays 17, 18 minutes, does his try hard thing on defense, and they move on with their lives. Fontecchio also playing like early rotations. If he gets really, really hot, he can close at times. But for the most part, like they've just figured out how they want to utilize everybody. And now there's some familiarity that they have. They've gotten exponentially healthier over the course of the last month. They've had some really good home numbers, 15-7 at home, 28-21 against the spread on the season here. Despite being 24-26, they're a team that's playing pretty good ball, and obviously Milwaukee on the back-to-back.
How do you feel about Markkanen? Is he going to just fall out in the wash as we go extreme stars and scrubs at this point?
Maybe 8,600. It's kind of just like no man's land. We have extreme value. So don't we want to play Giannis, Jokic, and SGA for raw points? That's kind of the way that the field already was crafting their lineups. And that was before the Memphis news. We had 37% Giannis, 33% SGA. We'll see what happens with everything getting updated here by Lee. But I mean, for me, I just find it so easy to get to those guys. So you should just like get to those guys. I think if you're going to this mid-range, I do prefer Anthony Edwards. I did bet Lauri Markkanen for a double-double for what that's worth, but you got Anthony Edwards, 8,300. Miles Bridges, I love for tournaments, 8,400. Trying to make that a thing here again. You had Miller go berserk even in that absolute blowout, but I'm more inclined to click on Bridges today. And then Scotty Barnes, always somebody like eternally in that 8K range. I think I kind of prefer all three of them from a raw points perspective as opposed to Lauri Markkanen. So is what it is.
All right, you kind of hit on Scotty Barnes with SGA at point guard. I mean, we can still play him at small forward. I think that's the way to go on DraftKings for sure. Is that, I mean, I know the Sims and all that will take care of it for you, but we do have quite a few people who still build by hand and create their own lineups. Is that where you want to employ him at one of the forward spots for Barnes?
Say that again.
Would you prefer Barnes at the guard or the forward spot on DK? With SGA.
Look, I'm just looking because I mean he's one of our most positively leveraged guys, or he was leading into this. I prefer getting to him more at guard, it would look like. I will say I don't know what's going to happen with the Gilliard Scottie Pippen split if Scottie Pippen is there. I'm more inclined to play Scottie Pippen than I am playing Gilliard. If we'll see what the starting lineup is, even though Gilliard's there. I think I would probably get to guard mainly because like I love Roddy and GG Jackson. They are just not going anywhere. I think I prefer both of them there. Trey Jameson, figuring out what's happening with Matt Hurt here too, because 0.6 fantasy point per minute guy, but he's going to be closer to like 0.75 with this kind of a lineup out there. Yeah, it's probably going to end up being a guard spot for me for which is so weird because it's just normally like most slates you would think, oh, Scotty Barnes, he has small forward eligibility, click.
Why do the PR sites for these teams, like for baseball and for basketball, just do the worst job at getting out actual news?
I think there's a lot of people that are scared of pissing off a coach or doing something that displeases them because they are more expendable. Like their job goes away first as opposed to, because I've thought about this a lot where it's got to be a fear-based thing. Like you don't want to do anything to upset anybody who's mainly in charge of it. Like from owner, GM, coach, player, like somebody in that capacity, you don't want to piss them off by releasing something that's, either slightly inaccurate or that doesn't give them the absolute utmost advantage because they feel like, playing it closer to the chest might give them an advantage, which is just ridiculous, just absolutely ridiculous. But I think there's got to be something fear-based there.
All right. Oh, we got another super chat here. So let me get this one to you. Best FanDuel single entry plays by position now that the dust has settled there.
The dust has not settled. The dust is far from settled. We're going to get a starting lineup that I'm sure is going to make all of our heads spin.
Yes.
But
Lillard is really the key news we're missing at this point.
I mean, that's now that we got everything here that we were waiting on. For FanDuel, you're playing 4 pieces from Memphis, more than likely, if I had to guess. Let me pull this up here right now. Scottie Pippen is 5,400 over there. That's fascinating. We'll see where that ownership lands. First guy right off the bat, Bobby Portis is 5,500. I know Lee's playing over at FanDuel's power forward center. That's pretty useful. I bet he has some Bobby Portis in his life pre-baked in for sure. I think looking at all the studs, Giannis, SGA, I think you can easily get to both of them. You have a 12-1 Jokic, and obviously because of the power forward center for Portis, because of power forward center for Towns or Zinger or anybody like that, I think there's less of a need to have to get to Jokic, although he's Nikola Jokic. You know that he's projected for 60, and on FanDuel could just go completely wreck, but you don't get the double-double bonus. You don't get the triple-double bonus. Would be more inclined to play more Giannis SGA if I were building out one lineup over on FanDuel, and then kind of combining them with Bobby Portis. I love Miles Bridges for tournaments, both sites, 8,600 there on FanDuel. And from a value perspective, it looks like Matt Hurt, 3,600. I don't know how you get away from that on FanDuel.
Yeah, that's, I hate the pat terms, but that's kind of a broken price tag when you consider he's going to play 24 to 30 minutes tonight.
Yeah. Well, why don't we bring in Lee, because I think we just got everything established here, and I am scouring through Twitter to find out Scottie Pippen news. Let me see, Scottie Pippen Jr. Just like, is he with the team? Like,
do you need 7 or 8 people to play a game?
You need 8.
And well, then it has to be Scottie Pippen. Right?
Yep. Yes, yes, because they did rule everybody out. A lot of times not a lot. We have seen teams take an 8th player and just say, yeah, he's hurt, he's not going to play, but he suits up just to meet that requirement. But that, yes, it is. You need to suit up 8 players.
Yep. All right. Gilliard, Pippen Jr. is apparently with the team. That's, again, just looking at Twitter, unconfirmed sources, just trying to find something there. We have 30 minutes to make sure that we have that, but.
Yes. So this is actually interesting too. So every time Pippen has played recently, he starts over Gilliard. So I'm actually going to lean that way. And then I'm also going to probably start Trey Jamison at the 5. So I need to make some adjustments because he's like more of a true 5. He's like a 7-footer, right? Mm-hmm. Matt Hurt's more of like a PFC type situation. So yeah, I'm going to make some adjustments here. But honestly, this is not the spot you fade. You just eat your Wheaties and go somewhere else and figure out what you're doing somewhere else.
There's 8 guys and they're all projected for 26 plus minutes. We have 240 minutes to divvy up every single time you sit down and put anything together. And all of them are quote unquote bad fantasy producers outside of Scottie Pippen Jr., which again, if he's in that starting lineup, I'm just going to play an eternal amount because 22 minutes. That's like on the absolute low side. He played 32 in the previous one in a more diluted spot. Or not diluted, more like nobody there, Sacramento spot, 32 minutes there, played pretty well. I got to think that, we're going to see him in that starting lineup as well. I'm with you. 30 minutes of him just is lovely, lovely, lovely. But Luke Kennard is definitely the guy I'm the most worried about from Memphis purely because he's 5,500. And if this game gets wonky, which it should, considering it's like 3 10-day guys, 3 G League 2-way players. I mean, what are we even doing here, Memphis? What are we doing here?
I have a question for you guys. So just in general, because these are pretty unique situations, you get like once every 2 years or something like that. Do you think the coach comes in and tries to play real rotations where it's more like 30 for the starter, like, 20 something for the back? Or does he just like kind of rotate bodies in as he sees,
Go ahead, EMac. You answer first.
So my guess on this is they're going to play it in waves, front court and back court, and then they're just going to kind of see what happens. It's too hard. There's too many new people. There's too many unknowns. This isn't the situation like where we saw last couple games of the season where a couple years ago where Portland like played 6 players and 5 of them got 46 minutes or whatever it was. It's not quite that situation, but you could see stuff yanked around. I mean, your job is very hard because how do you project the rotations? Because is it Pippen? Is it Gilliard? If Gilliard splashes some threes, maybe he stays on a little longer at the expense of somebody not named Pippen, right? It's too hard to know. But I would think they're going to do it kind of front court, back court waves and just
Makes
it's one
sense.
of these. I don't want to see what's happening out there.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning towards people that have actually played in the NBA get slightly more minutes, like Pippen and Gilliard and like G.G. Jackson. And then like Kennard and Roddy, I think they get their 30-ish minutes if the game stays remotely close, but obviously there's huge downside there. And then, this Tosan guy, kind of interesting. Matt Hurt, interesting. Kind of.
Heard he was good at Princeton. Everybody wanted to tell me how good he was at Princeton once upon a time last year. Because again, I had no idea who he was. The Tosan.
He shall remain nameless.
Ev Bowman.
Ev Bowman. Yeah.
Ev Bowman. Yeah, we'll go with that. Ev Bowman sounds good.
All right. So looping us back in, what we haven't talked about is kind of the game here. And since now we are going free flowing at this point, because that's what sort of happens. How are you feeling about that Charlotte and Indiana game? We're really not talking about many people there. A little tougher to get some of the Indiana side out of their front court, I guess. But like a Brandon Miller, a PJ Washington, and Nick Richards, anybody like that intriguing at this point for you, Eric?
Yeah, Miles Bridges. I'm definitely going to be playing some Miles Bridges. 8,400 for him. We're talking about a 0.12 fantasy point per minute guy here without ball, probably. And the sample size we have, obviously, Brandon Miller's been the guy here recently, shooting guard, small forward. You could still land on that if you wanted to, but I'm really getting to Miles Bridges in a meaningful way right now. Fields going about the same there. I think there's going to be some artificial ownership we see on Brandon Miller. That seems to be the trend here. Every single slate we get to lock, and it's like, oh shit, how is Brandon Miller 20% owned? I think that's something that might happen here. It's obviously a phenomenal spot. You're talking about the most up-tempo team in the entire NBA, first in pace, 102.8 possessions per 48 minutes, and you're getting massive, massive minutes from these guys. They are 11-point dogs, which, pales in comparison to 20, but it's not nothing in terms of blowout risk. But yet Miles Bridges and Brandon Miller have played so deep into some of these games at times that it's a little surprising. You still got 32 minutes from Brandon Miller, despite being down 20 plus entering that fourth quarter up against OKC. He played a first rotation there in that fourth quarter. So for me, I don't really think you need to go to much Nick Richards, 5,800. I'm okay if you do. He's projected for 30 minutes, and it is what it is. He's not nothing, but for me, this is so extremely stars and scrubs that I'm going to get up to the 8K guys. I'm probably going to just bypass Brandon Miller altogether here. I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of guys in the 6K, 5K, 6K range that I get to whatsoever today now.
Yeah, this is just, this is wild.
This just reminds me of the Milwaukee slates last year, where you had the entire starting 5 for Milwaukee ruled out. You would have 8 guys and you're like, oh, Thanasis is starting. Great. Okay, what do we do here? We got Andre Jackson starting or whomever. There's just so many randos that get kind of inserted into it. You just kind of play them. You cycle through them. We got the starting lineup, and it is just as wonky as you could have ever hoped.
Let's see.
Gilliard starting, which is not an enjoyable thing to see.
Yeah. Gilliard, Kennard, G.G. Jackson, David Roddy, and Trey Jameson.
All right, so the first thing it does is it definitely shores up G.G. Jackson as my favorite guy to get to. 4,500, I'm just going to have an eternal amount of him. The Kennard one's still shaky. Gilliard, not the best fantasy producer, and Pippen, obviously 26, 22 type split more than likely for me. The Jemison character, I have no clue what to do with here. 3,100, I mean, they needed some sort of size, so it's not completely surprising, but he's on a 10-day contract. I would think Matt Hurt ends up being the guy who I still like because he has the power forward eligibility, but it's not like center is some incredible position on today's slate. You have Jokic, you have Şengün, which you can always get to. You have Zinger without one of the pieces in Boston that always makes everybody else a little bit more appealing. And Chet Holmgren at 7,300, the tag's starting to come down. So I'm okay getting to some of him. Obviously he's 3,100 and starting, but I would say he's probably my least favorite of everybody outside of Gilliard.
All right, here, I'm going to look quickly at, I'm sure we got some questions here in Discord.
What is a Trey Jameson? It's something you probably drank too much of in college.
Here's the question. This was slightly old, so we got the Memphis news after this, but what are you doing with Ish Smith currently popping up 60% in this sentence?
I got to rerun it. Obviously, the Pippen thing is going to change some stuff for me. Yeah. I doubt that he's like a full send here at this point. There's risk baked into it. He's such a good fantasy performer, and if it gets really out of hand, like again, if Gilliard's the guy that they're going to keep on the team and send Scottie Pippen down to progress in the G League, I got to think that like Scottie Pippen closes a lot of the time here, and getting a full quarter, like a full fourth, that's pretty possible here for a guy who's a 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy. Still seems fun, but like I don't think I'm going to play him in 100% of lineups like I was expecting.
This always reminds me of April 9th, 2016. Oh my God, it was that long ago. That was the Scotty Barnes triple-double night when the Memphis Grizzlies went super shorthanded. I can't believe that was 7 years ago. Feels more recent than that.
Wait, Scotty Barnes. Scotty Barnes wasn't in the NBA.
Matt Barnes.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. Excuse me. All righty. So, yikes. So where does this put somebody like McDaniels from your Minnesota Timberwolves? Would you go with him, or are you going with a comparably priced Memphis folks?
I don't know yet. I don't know. I have no clue. We've got 23 minutes here. Somebody's saying Gilliard closed 2 games ago over Pippen. Yeah, I'm aware. Like there were competitive games at times, and obviously he wasn't even there with the team yesterday. So, or 2 days ago it was. So it is what it is. Like things and circumstances have changed, but they've played competitive games. They only lost by 6 to Indy, lost by 9 to Sacramento, lost by 7 to Cleveland, lost by 20 last time out Golden State, but there was no Pippen there. The fact that Gilliard closed means absolutely nothing to me. I would think that come the end of the game, if they're down 25-30 in the fourth quarter, Scottie Pippen is closing this basketball game. So for me, it's more of like we're probably going to be getting to pieces of both of them here as is. But yeah, this just sucks.
This is absolutely wild. All righty. So
kind of want to play Kennard in single entry for what it's worth.
What is making you lean that way? You think he's the one, kind of the odd man out?
I think everybody's thinking the same way we are, where this game isn't going to be competitive. And, that's the most likely scenario is this game isn't competitive. When you're talking about a 19.5 point spread, you're expecting things to be wonky. And Boston has obviously played to the level of their competition at times this season. But like on the whole, we're expecting this thing to get really, really wonky. But if it doesn't, for whatever reason, I think everybody feels the same way I do, where you look at your lineups and Luke Kennard's pulling like 5-6% ownership. Oh, Tyler Hero's questionable. Are you kidding me? Cool. Cool. Okay. So I want to get to Bam and Butler for sure.
All right. So while you're reacting to that mentally here and fortifying yourself, just some quick starting lineups. The Celtics, Derek White, Drew Holiday, Jason Tatum, Al Horford, Kristaps Porzingis, as expected. The Charlotte Hornets, Ish, Bryce McGowan's, Brandon Miller, Miles Bridges, Nick Richards. The Grizzlies we've hit on, but once again, Jacob Gilliard, Luke Kennard, Gigi Jackson, David Roddy, Trey Jamison. And then we just got the Pacers, slight change there. Halliburton back in the starting lineup. Nembhard, Nesmith in the starting lineup. I guess Nembhard was in the starting lineup over Hield, Siakam, Turner. So that's Halliburton, Nembhard, Nesmith, Siakam, Turner.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting from Indy, which is good. But yeah, Josh Richardson is starting for Miami, so I'm taking Tyler Hero out. I don't know what to make of this. Josh Richardson's 3,700 gonna play. I mean, have you seen Josh Richardson's usage lately?
No.
There's been some times that he'll go out and chuck. There's been like a 26%. There's been around a 20%. Obviously, you're replicating Tyler Hero. You're not going to get to the same level of usage Tyler Hero had, but he is 3,700, and It's kind of at a price point that you don't have with Memphis. We're talking 3,700 as opposed to Scottie Pippen and Gilliard, who are 45 and 4,700 respectively. You don't have another guard that's cheap there. So like, I think Josh Richardson's really, really interesting. Lee, do you think so too?
Yeah, I definitely think that's pretty interesting. So I still have to leave him in for now, but I'm gonna drop Hero to like 28, which would make him, unplayable pretty much for
Yeah.
everybody. And I'm gonna boost Richardson up to like around 30 minutes, and that should make everything approximately equitable, at least from a projection standpoint. And then we'll just go from there. That said, like unless you're chasing, I think chasing Richardson usage is kind of like chasing Jalen Green. It's a little dangerous, but he's tough to play on this slate, to be honest. But I could see turning reasons to do it. I could completely, because like nobody's gonna have him, right?
Yeah.
Hey, so there's a bunch of people in chat talking about how basically Scottie Pippen and Gilliard haven't played together, including the other eight-person game with Sacramento and Memphis. But that game they did have Aldama, Jaren Jackson, and some other pieces. What are your thoughts? I mean, do you think I should handcuff them at 48? Because that makes one guy pretty much unplayable.
No, I don't think you should. I think that would be wild. We're talking about, so Ev Bowman, Hurt, Jameson, Roddy. Like, this is one of those where if this game is competitive, Luke Kennard is going to play much higher than the 31 minutes we have projected if it's competitive. And you're probably running into a scenario where they don't share the floor, but like there are so many ways this game plays out where you have them overlap and share the floor like at the end of the game because you just don't care. Like they're the only two like true guards outside of Kennard, and you're not going to have Kennard out there in a 25-point game. So if this game runs neutral, where it's a 20-point ball game with 6 minutes left, which is, again, like the 50th percent range of outcomes, like within a standard deviation of both sides of it, you're talking about two guys that you don't care about them being out there. You're protecting Kennard, and they're the only two guys who can like handle a basketball. I would have no problem having them both in lineups. Like, I don't want to get crazy with it. It probably goes more towards like, you've got it 28-35 right now. I think maybe you take Scotty down a little bit, but like, I want to get to Scotty for sure. So like, I'm fine having them both in lineups.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it's, again, this isn't like a center position, or it isn't a specific guy can only shoot threes from the corner kind of dueling plays. It's a limited commodity, but you can have 2 point guards on the floor at the same time. I don't see that being an issue, even if they are your old.
I still want to double check and make sure Scottie Pippen's with this basketball team right now. I know he has to be, because otherwise he wouldn't be playing the game. But like, is he something where he's just like showing up in a uniform and they're just not going to play him at all? Because that would be hilarious.
That almost feels like it's in play. I mean, since he didn't make the starting lineup. I mean, we've seen enough wonky stuff this year, Eric.
Yeah,
it's weird calling somebody Eric.
It's very strange, Eric.
We'll just go with Lindy.
Yeah. Go with old man.
You know who we haven't talked about? Nikola Jokic here.
He's good.
He's kind of the luxury play. The one thing I do want to point out is I did catch the tail end of the strategy show with Josh and Lofty, and Josh absolutely correctly pointed out that this is the best home court advantage for Denver. Keep in mind, Trailblazers played there on Friday, so they have had another 48 hours to acclimate to altitude. That they'll probably roll over. They were a little frisky on Friday anyway, but anything that keeps the game closer and keeps Jokic in play, that's a good thing. Didn't he have some sick triple-double, like 27, 22, and 11
he
or something
went
like that?
Completely nuclear. Yeah. 27, 22, and 12. That seems good.
The triple-doubles in play, I'm a little worried about the scoring, here's a different way of saying that. I think he's going to get about 30 combined rebounds and points on his high end.
Yeah.
The assists will be there, but this could be, and they pointed out, hey, this could be one where he's just the maestro making it happen on offense for his teammates in this situation. So I definitely think we should be playing him. It's one of those where ceiling game going to be a little harder to get there. But how many of us collectively held our breath last night when Luka Doncic went to the locker room after landing awkwardly?
Yeah.
Right. So
I have so much Giannis. I have so much SGA, and I'm going to have well over the field of Jokic. I'm just not going to have as much of him as the other two. I think that's really what it comes down to. It's a point guard in SGA. You have Gilliard and you have Pippen at 45, 4,700. So it's not like they're the 3K guys that you're getting at forward from Memphis. I've brought that up a couple of times, but like, I do think it bears repeating. Like, I think the positionality of SGA and the fact that he's projected for nearly 60, pretty easy for me to play that ad nauseum. Jokic, he's the guy who brings center eligibility, but I mean, Giannis has that as well for $400 less and is projected for more. So, more competitive game environment as well. The Denver's 14-point favorites, SGA sitting at 9, and then Milwaukee's a dog. So Giannis goes out and plays well, or this thing just falls apart. So like getting to Tatum a lot for tournaments. 9,700 brought that up earlier. I think I'm revisiting what I want to do here in my lines, just kind of finishing up everything with the Sims with our projection update and seeing what happened with Richardson and Ish Smith. And I'm just simulate lineups. Here we go. This is going to be fun.
All right. Rad M just got here. Says, hey, can I get the 2 best Grizzlies picks, please? He did say please. It's kind of shifting by the moment here. Pretty much all 5 of their starters are in play. And then the wild card is, what are we doing with Scottie Pippen? I think best is a relative term. I think those are the 6 guys you want. And then that's not even getting to who the Duke guy who shoots 3-pointers. Why can't I think of his name?
Gilliard?
No, the
what?
Best,
the Duke guy. What?
Right?
What?
I thought Best went to, who's their G League guy that they just brought up?
Oh, Ryan. Or what are we talking about? The Bowman guy. We have Pippen. We have who are we talking about? I have no clue.
No, I'm having a senior moment.
It's okay. You're adorable.
Matt
We
Hurt.
all love you. There you go,
Hurt.
Matt Hurt.
Didn't he play?
He did play at Duke. Yeah.
Duke. Okay. Thought I recognized. All right. Anyway, sorry. Not a name I was expecting to talk about tonight. 13 minutes until lock here. Sean would like to know, and not your favorite Sean, another Sean would like to know favorite plays per DK position by position.
I'm just finishing it up now. I will tell you here in 2 seconds. Got it. All right. It would appear that in my top 50 here, at point guard, the guy I'm getting to the most is SGA. At shooting guard here, Jordan Clarkson at the moment, which is weird. Small forward, Gigi Jackson, 100%. Power forward, Giannis. And center is this Trey Jameson character.
Are you going to go buy some Memphis swag after this game?
No. If I win 100K, I will. For sure.
When you win 100K.
See, I like your thinking. I like the way that you positive affirmation.
Absolutely. All right. I'm going to, whatever Lee has in the projections is what I'm making my Yahoo lineup for, because I need to attend to some DK action here. Looks like I'm going with Chet Holmgren at center.
Okay.
I got Jaden McDaniels. How are you feeling about Jaden McDaniels? That's that.
Not great, Bob. Not great.
Yeah, not great. Whatever. Chet Holmgren it is. Or I could go Bobby Portis.
See, I like the Bobby Portis call just because it's like, if you are looking for any kind of leverage here, if this game just gets so wonky, because again, I said that it's hard to imagine a scenario where they score 85 points and you're still not there. But like, if it is diluted across and everybody puts up 25, like there's going to be pieces you really want. But Bobby Portis is the kind of guy who puts up 50 and you just freaking need. And that is at a price point that is obviously very appealing. There's a lot of ways that the news can break for you here. 6,100. I already like him. And he's the one good fantasy producer out of anybody else not named Giannis. So if Lillard ends up sitting, Bobby Portis becomes a smash season. Everybody else, it's like, I think Cam Payne would become the second guy I'd want to get to, unless, for whatever reason he didn't start. But it's so hard to try to pre-bake that into my lineups today.
I could go with Jalen McDaniels.
You could. You
That
could.
would be just bad. That would be wrong. All right, we're letting that one ride.
You had one good game recently.
Richardson, Josh Richardson, or Ish Smith on DK.
I think it's going to end up being, let me see, Richardson didn't really come up for me yet, which is weird. I don't know what happened. I mean, part of it is that I think we still have Tyler Hero in at the moment. And so what could be 32 minutes is probably sitting around 30-ish. Because again, if Hero comes off the bench, you're not giving him his full 34, 33, but like, you have to put those minutes somewhere, and it makes the most sense to go to the guy who's starting here at 3,700. So, like, I like getting to Richardson. He's somebody that you're going to have to ROI boost if you want to try to get to a little bit, and I definitely do today.
All right. I can't hear you say Hero without hearing the song.
Oh, no. That's not a boomer mode. That's a young man moment right there.
All right. Any love for Sam Hauser? That is from Riley Cooper. I can't do that. Not with the Memphis guys.
I know what you're getting at. Like, obviously, blowout.
Talking about blowout run, mob up duty. I don't like Hauser. You could sell me on Peyton Pritchard.
You could sell me on Peyton Pritchard too. I have 8% Peyton Pritchard, so I'm okay with that.
But good next level thinking for sure. For sure, Riley, on that one. But not with everything staring us in the face. We had a good question last night when Garrison Matthews was starting, and someone said, well, all Matthews needs to do is hit a couple threes and get a lucky steal or a couple assists, and all of a sudden he's going to be just as good as McBride. And I'm like, you're right. And they both ended up with a very similar stat line. So I don't hate it there, Riley, but I don't think I'm not going to. All right, what other panic mode here? Okay. Oh, no, we already got the Heat starting lineup. We talked about that. My stuff is not refreshing. Okay. So I think we have...
My lineups suck. Does everybody else feel like their lineups suck? My lineups suck today. This is the dumbest thing I've ever looked at in my life.
I have 8 minutes and I'm now running the simulations. This is how awesome our stuff is.
I trust our Sims tool a lot more than I trust myself to like make good decisions here in the next 8 minutes. So this is just getting ran at this point, and here we go. I'm going to try to pre-bake a little bit of the Josh Richardson in just because of what those minutes could be. And again, he's at a price point that's just lower than the point guards. If it's a 24-24 split, you probably don't want to have Gilliard. Like that would be the issue. Like for me, that's where it gets really dicey, is like, for whatever reason, I feel kind of, correct me if I'm wrong, like I feel better about Scottie Pippen than I do Gilliard to a certain extent.
I agree completely.
Okay.
And the only reason we're second guessing ourselves is because we've seen 3 different players in the last, 10 days not start when expected and then not play either.
Yep.
On these fringy guys. I don't think it's going to happen in this spot, but shit, I didn't think it was going to happen with Rashawn Holmes either.
Yeah, so. No kidding.
I will just say that in the 5 games that Gilliard played in the G League this year, he does take like shots, actually. He's taking like 12 shots a game type situation. So,
Tyler Hero out.
Okay. Let me get that really quick for you guys.
Okay. Yep. I would like to run one more simulation here too, because I would like to get Bam and Butler into my life a little bit. Because again, 7K, again, we have eternal amount of salary, but again, you're looking for the guys who put a 55-60. I think both without Tyler Hero there, you're replacing a guy who on this season just had his numbers here, 28.2% usage, 1.1 fantasy point per minute guy. I think Rozier at 6,500 isn't the craziest, most loony thing to do either. Still no Duncan Robinson. These guys could play a ton of minutes today, and it's not a great spot, obviously, facing the Clippers, but I don't know. They're pretty damn cheap missing a guy who likes to chuck. So I am going to be playing that. I'm just worried that like Hawkes ends up being the guy who plays more than I'm thinking.
Boost.
And
that's good instinct.
There you go.
That's good instinct.
Yeah. I think.
Yep. I just pushed. So it'll take.
You're the best.
There's no chance of a new ownership though in time. You'll get the sim side ownership, not the site side ownership.
Beautiful. You are the man. Thank you. EMac, what's in your lineups today?
Well, I'm about to hit the button here. I'm just waiting for this to come through. I've got so I downloaded my DK lineups. This is for who asked the
I'm setting that part of it up right now.
I've got the template already. I have sorted by dollar figure, and then I play different types of contests, so I need to do certain things with that. So that's been all taken care of. I'm assuming the projections change. There we go. Yep, we just got that. So I am building out 25% to first. Let's go with pre-contest simulator.
Is everybody else having as much fun as we are? Can we get this like button over 400? I mean, I cannot believe the amount of stuff that is going on this slate, and it locks in 5 minutes with like the most important part of the slate. So like, just smash the like button for EMac. My guy over there, he can't even remember where he is, and he's here doing shows for you guys. So like, really
chat said EMac's the new GOAT. He called himself having a senior moment. So
true, it's true. You love you.
Good times. You know, I bought another place down here in Florida. So now I have
did you?
One in Virginia.
I'm coming to visit. Can we go play some golf?
It's very nice.
I think I will.
I will caddy for you. I don't do the old golfers. Sorry.
How much Pippin are you playing?
I'm
playing like 28%.
Okay, I'm playing 45 on DK.
I was gonna go for 50 was my goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he's expensive on FanDuel, so he's like, I'm just trying to get a gauge.
Yep.
He's like 5,400 on FanDuel. So
yeah, cheaper over here. So 4,700. I like him more than I like Gilliard. I'm kind of flip flopping again. I think Gilliard's somebody, not that they are that concerned about, but like I think they do prioritize him over Pippen right now for whatever reason. So
he does pass the ball.
He does pass the ball. That's what he does. He's a sharer and a carer about that.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of don't know what I'm doing with my life right now. What am I doing?
Well, you got 4 minutes to figure it out.
Great. Perfect. Run contest simulation. That's the answer. Thank you for saying that, because I was just going to absolutely.
Thank you to 1-800 Eddie for making sure we have all the bandwidth on the background from variable servers.
I am just panicked. What, 3 minutes? 3 minutes.
Yeah, this is the closest I've ever gone down to the wire here. All right, there we go.
Playing a lot of Josh Richardson now.
The old quick favorite, 150.
He's taking over a lot of my ish.
I'm playing 44% Trey Jamison on FanDuel. It's
nice
center
feeling.
Only.
It's a nice feeling. It's a good feeling, huh? All right, here we go.
Pretty.
Ready and break, Eric. It is time to fly. Any questions? Anybody else? Other stuff? Anything?
Everyone's still scared about Scottie Pippen. I agree. I'm also scared about it. That's why I'm trying to control somewhat. And we don't have a really good decision here. So like if you're too scared, just don't play him. But he definitely has like big time slate breaking upside if he plays.
Sure does. Oh, this is going to just be pure insanity. What am I even doing? What am I even doing right now?
And upload. I'm impressed that you're calm and still changing ROI boosts and stuff.
I am. Just to try to get myself to, some of these guys that I don't even know where Bridges went, but he is no longer here. He is no longer among us.
So I'm gonna shout out some of my exposures here as we race towards lock here. Dear God, I ended up with 90% Trey Jamison. I ended up with 88% Gregory Jackson. I'm well over Giannis at 70, Shea at 60-ish at 40, Pippen at 40, Gilliard at 33. Those are the main guys I have. Richardson, I was able to get up to 28. I still have Jokic on 26. So I guess mathematically all my lineups probably have two.
Oh, fuck.
What happened?
Two. When is the Indiana game lock? Well, I fucked up the Indiana stuff. I didn't see Nembhard was starting.
It rolls now.
He's probably like 20 minutes. He's probably unplayable still.
Yep, he's unplayable. I didn't get any in the Sims tools, so
yeah, he's not
okay.
playable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm finishing this up, taking a look at the single entry, and we will get ourselves the heck up out of here. Oh my God. Look at my lineups. They are so bad. It's like one of those rapper guys' boyfriends.
I was just going to say, and her butt is so big. She's like one of those rap star girlfriends. Sir Mix-a-Lot from Seattle.
Sure was.
Swass. All right.
Miami locks next, like right now, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Apparently it's at 417, which I don't even understand how that works.
I just saw that as well. Yes, I just saw that ESPN. It says 617, 417.
Fuck it.
That's weird, Lee. First time I've ever seen that.
No idea. This whole day has been kind of weird. Yeah, I had to spend so much time on the stupid Memphis guys to like make sure that they're working and their usages made sense that like I missed the shenanigans with the Indiana starting lineup.
I hate everything I just did.
Why? You're in a safe spot. You can tell us.
No, I don't think I will. I'm just gonna.
Well,
I don't try and get too fancy.
Paul George,
this type of stuff.
I'm drinking my coffee. So this is. Did your lineup not go? You're up.
I got him in. I just ended up having a mistake. I played a ton of Case and Wallace on accident, so that's cool. Just staring at it. I don't know what I did, but here we are. Cheers, everyone.
Well, we are at lock. So thank you. This was a good show. This was a wild one. I was not expecting this. We should have known with all of the just injured people and wonkiness that happens on Sundays, which is now encroached on Saturdays for the NBA. But as we mentioned at the top show, we are going to be here every Sunday through the rest of the winter here until the NBA stops playing Sunday night games. So obviously next week is the Super Bowl. They'll have 3 early games, I believe. Let me just look at that real quick since I've got the ESPN schedule up right now. So we'll still likely have the strategy show. Oh, there's only 2 games this year, the 2 o'clock and the 3 o'clock game. So we'll have our tools and all that. And Josh will probably do the morning grind for that if, in fact, we don't actually have a strategy show, which we did today with Josh and Laffy, and that should be there going forward as well on Sundays now that the NBA is not casting a large shadow over everything. We mentioned that we are sponsored by Sleeper, $500 deposit match there, and I was remiss in not telling you, if you sign up today, there is a free square. Pretty much every day if you are signing up, they have a free square for the people who sign up. Let me go double check and see if that game has already started, but now I've got too many tabs open. But in any event, the key things you need to know there: 1, up to a $500 deposit match, you need to put in 20 with your first deposit. You can also build out cards that pay out 100x. The other thing is they have dynamic pricing. They also the dynamic payouts and multipliers. They also allow you on a lot of their player props to push the score up or down and then make a different decision, and it brings you a different multiplier. So there's a lot of flexibility on Sleeper. And then we also have the pick'em sites on OddsShopper, which for me is a godsend because I like to play on Sleeper, but I don't like looking at my phone all the time, and I don't have an iPad. So I just look at our wagers on the computer, and then I just search the players on the phone, and boom, ready to go. I like to check and see what Eric Lindquist has put out as well in the Discord because he's pretty smart at this. Final thoughts before we slide on out of here, Eric?
I mean, I have a little bit of Anthony Simons just because there was that piece of Brogdon I completely forgot about talking about it at any point. But like, good luck.
Good luck. Godspeed.
Yeah. Don't watch that Memphis game.
Don't watch the Memphis game. Your eyes may bleed. You can turn into stone. We shall see. But hey, everything's starting again all over tomorrow. You got Josh Eagleman with his morning process show. We have the NBA strategy show. We'll, of course, have Deeper Dive and Live Before Lock before the games tomorrow. And then NFL Super Bowl content is going to be starting up here as well as we get ready for the big game. With that, you guys can follow Eric on Twitter at
Eric Lindquist.
You can find me at EMac DFS. And, of course, it's stochastic_COM. Hit that like button, gamers. And good luck.
We need it.
Godspeed.